All right, guys, so today's lesson is going to be almost the same as yesterday's with one minor detail, which is that I won't give you all three sides every time, okay? So I'm going to move out of your way, and I want you guys to pause the video once I get out of your way and write down everything on the board if you don't already have it written down, okay? So let me get out of your way real fast. Okay, so all I want you guys to do is over here we have our special triangles and our triplets and the Pythagorean theorem, and over there we have our sine, cosine, tangent ratios. You will need all of that for today's lesson, okay? So pause this, write this down, and then unpause it when you need to, okay? All right, so what we did yesterday is I gave you guys a triangle, okay? And it was always a right triangle, of course. And then I gave you some sort of angle. So let me give you like angle F. Okay. So the thing that I did yesterday was I gave you all three sides. So I gave you like 3, 4, 5, or 5, 12, 13. Okay. Today we're going to use our triplets and our special triangles and Pythagorean theorems to find missing sides. Okay. So for instance, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you that this is 10, and I'm going to tell you that this is 8. Okay. And then I'm going to ask you to find the sine of the angle F, the cosine of the angle F, and the tangent of the angle F. Okay, so you can't find the sine, the cosine, the tangent if you don't have this other side, okay? But you guys know how to find that, okay? So you know that 8 and 10 are both divisible by 2. So then you get 4 and you get 5. And then you go over here and you go, okay, that's part of a triplet. So you know this is a 3, 4, 5 triplet, but you do have to double that. So you use 6 for that side, okay? Now here's the tricky part. When you do sine, cosine, and tangent, the answers are all ratios, okay? If these numbers right here can be reduced, then you do have to do that. So for instance, when you do this now, let me erase this real fast, okay? Remember, write down which these are. So this is across from the 90s. This is the hypotenuse. Okay, this is across from F, so this is opposite. And this is next to it, so that's the adjacent. Okay, so when you do sine of F, which is right here, opposite over a hypotenuse, you're going to do opposite over hypotenuse. But you can't leave your answer 6/10 because those are both divisible by 2, so you end up getting 3/5. Okay, but if you notice, that's what you would have gotten if you had used the reduced triplet. So from now on, you have a choice. You can use the numbers on the outside and then reduce them, or you can just use the reduced version, which is the triplet. Hopefully that's not too confusing. Okay, I'm going to do it both ways. So cosine F, if you use the numbers on the outside, it's 8/10, which reduces to 4/5, which of course you could have just used 4/5 right there. Okay. Tangent, if you use the numbers on the outside, you get 6/8, which of course reduces to 3/4, or you could have just used the 3 and the 4 right there, okay? So in any case, these are your answers right here. These are the reduced ones for these numbers right here. Okay, all right. So next problem. Okay. All right, I want you guys to draw me a triangle. Okay, this time I'm going to put G up here. I'm going to say that this is 30 degrees, and I'm going to say that this is 12. Okay, so in the problems we did on the first video, I gave you all three sides. The example I just did, I gave you 2 sides. This one, I'm only giving you 1 side, okay? And the reason I only need to give you 1 side is because if I mark this as a 30, then you know that this is 60, and you guys can use your 30, 60, 90 triangles, okay? So if a side across from the hypotenuse is 12, the side across from the 30 is half that, and the side across from the 60 is x root 3, okay? So 6 root 3, 12, okay? So I'm going to find the sine, cosine, and tangent of all this, so I need to mark that this is the hypotenuse, this is the opposite from G, and this is the adjacent. Okay. All right, so when I do the sine of G, that's the opposite divided by the hypotenuse, and then you do have to reduce this. 6 over 12 is a half, so you get root 3 over 2. Okay. Cosine of G, okay. Cosine of G is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. That reduces to 1/2. Okay, remember they're just ratios, so you do need to reduce those, okay? And then the tangent of G is the opposite divided by the adjacent, which reduces to √3. Okay. All right. Question. Oh, sorry. I was just asking if you guys had questions. That's goofy. Okay. One more problem like this. Okay. So I want to show you a problem. Let me see what I did. Okay, we're gonna do this side is 2 and this side is 4. Okay, and let's do H. Okay, so again, you need to find the missing side. 2 and 4 are not part of a triplet, and because I didn't give you any angles, you can't use the special triangles, okay? So the only backup plan, if you can't use triplets and special triangles, is to use Pythagorean theorem, okay? So we're gonna have to find the hypotenuse by doing a squared plus b squared equals hypotenuse squared, okay? So 4 plus 16. So 20 equals h squared. Okay, so remember square root that. Okay, and then you do have to reduce this. So if you break this down, this is √4 times √5. Okay, so you get a pair of 2's and a √5. So the hypotenuse is 2√5 right here, 2√5. Okay, all right, so when you go to mark this, this is the opposite, this is the adjacent, and this is the hypotenuse. Okay. So when you go to find the sine of the angle H, it's opposite over hypotenuse. Okay. Let me give myself a little bit more space. Sorry, I have to erase all this. Let me do that again. So the sine of H equals the opposite over the hypotenuse. Okay. This is not reduced. Those 2's do cancel, leaving you with 1 over √5. And then you can't leave roots on the denominator in math. So what you have to do, we did this in the other unit, is you have to multiply by √5, top and bottom. So you get √5 over 5. Okay, so not only do you have to reduce, but you have to rationalize, okay? All right, so let's try it again with cosine. So the cosine of H is 4 over 2√5. 4 divided by 2 is 2, so you get 2 over √5, okay? And then you have to rationalize by multiplying by √5. So you get 2 √5 over 5. Okay, all right. And then the tangent is just 2 over 4, which reduces to 1/2. No rationalizing needed. All right, you guys, so I want you to practice that and just let me know if anything's been confusing. Okay, bye, see you soon.